Hi guys, James at RampantLionReviews again for you today with another beer review. For this one we are going to head up to Dalarna county here in Sweden, and this is another brewery who I've never tried anything from, so definitely looking forward to this review. So this time we are going to go to the very small town of Sälens, and we're visiting Sälens Fjällbryggeri, so basically Sälens mountain brewery, and we've got an Imperial White IPA to try tonight. This one comes in at 9%, so it's a bit of a beast. It's called the White Horse IPA. It's got a bit of passion fruit added to it, so it should be really quite nice. This beer only just came out through Sälens actually. It was released on the 1st of November, so you'll be seeing this review just a couple of days after that actually, maybe a week or two after it actually. But this one should be very nice, and as I've always said, I do like trying new beers from different breweries, so really looking forward to this one. I've not reviewed too many Imperial White IPAs for you on the channel. The last one I can think of was Brewery in Beavertown's one, but I've done a number of white IPAs, and it's a style I really do enjoy. So I hope you guys enjoy this review, and hopefully I can review more from this brewery in the very near future. But anyway, as always with my reviews, I'll tell you a little bit about the brewery. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward. All the usual links are in the description below. That's the brewery website, the link to my future reviews that hopefully I can do from Sälens Fjällbryggeri. Very first time I'm trying one of their beers, of course. There's all the usual social media. If you want to see more beer reviews, do subscribe to the channel. The whole channel uses a geography-based tagging system, so you can go into the homepage and search for beer based on country, city or state, whatever you're interested in. There are playlists of the beers from different countries, and do make sure you check out the interviews, whiskey reviews and sake reviews, all the things on the channel. And as always, please do get in touch and let me know some of the other beers and breweries you guys would like to see review, especially those of you watching in Sweden, because I know there's a lot of breweries I haven't come across yet. So anyway, to tell you a little bit about Sälens Fjällbryggeri. So this brewery, as I mentioned to you, is based in the small town of Sälen in Dalarna county, which is a bit to the northwest of Stockholm actually. This brewery looks as if it's about 4 hours or so away from Stockholm. It's actually very close to the Norwegian border actually. So this brewery was founded back in 2012 by Pelle Hoffman and Magnus Engström, who together own the Gustav Grill and Bar restaurant in Lindvalen in the town. So Pelle had been home brewing for a number of years and had actually won a few competitions, and he then decided that he wanted to sell his beers in the restaurant, and this went down very, very well. They were initially only producing very small 50-litre batches, and so in the early days they were really quite prolific in producing a lot of different beer styles, but the positive reaction he had for the beers really prompted him to kind of go fully pro with this and get his beers into Sälens. So their current capacity in the restaurant is 200 litres per brew, but they've now started work on a new brewery premises, and they've ordered a 2,000 litre brew kit from the Czech Republic, which will give them an annual output of 250,000 litres, and they plan to expand this even further by bringing in more fermentation tanks and things like this. I actually couldn't find a kind of regular core range that they have on the website. When I looked it up earlier, I think the website that they have is for the restaurant rather than for the brewery itself, but they're probably going to work on that. But it's a big time for them obviously with them expanding. But this beer is a very, very new one, and I think there are a couple more available on the Sälens website, so hopefully I can order a few more of those for you and try them at some point. But this one, it should be really nice. As I say, I always like trying beers from new breweries, so if you want to see more about the brewery and things, do check out all the links in the description below. So yeah, this one should be really nice. As I mentioned to you at the start, it's a 9% Imperial White IPA. It says on the side here it's hot with Galaxy from Australia, Citra, Cascade and Chinook, which are of course all American hops. There's some passion fruit puree added to this one, and it says it's got wheat malt and Pilsner malt in there, and I think it's saying that there's some unmalted wheat in it as well, so it should be really nice. As I said, the White IPA and the Imperial White IPA of course are styles that have only just come out fairly recently. In the last couple of years actually, people have been experimenting with these quite a lot, so they are gaining in popularity, and I do quite like them. So there you can see, there is the Sälens bottle cap on this one. If I just bring it back to the light for you, and you can see it's quite nicely presented there. It looks very nice. Quite modern label artwork on this one. You can see the little kind of, I don't know if that's kind of the Greek horse or something like that, but this is meant to be, but very nicely presented. Best before the 14th of April 2017. So yeah, should be really nice. Let's get this guy out then, and we'll get on with the tasting. Looking forward to trying this one. Nice smoky opening there. Quite a lot of smoke on that actually. So let's get this guy out and into the glass, and I'll tell you something, you can smell a lot of that passion fruit juicy character coming out of this beer. It's one thing that surprises me a little bit with this. They're saying they're making a passion fruit IPA, but I would have thought if they wanted passion fruit flavours in this, they might have used the Simcoe hop. I always remember the Simcoe hop having a real kind of passion fruit a real passion fruit presence to it actually. So yeah, this beer's poured a really quite bright, trying to get it in the light for you, it's poured a really quite bright orangey amber colour, this one. There's a solid finger of a frothy white head on this. I've poured about 2/3 of the bottle into the glass at the moment. Some big bubbles sticking towards the side of the glass, but quite a lot of little ones going up towards the bottom of the head there. If I hold my fingers behind it, there is a degree of transparency there, but the beer does have some opacity to it as well. And just moving it around, you really can smell these nice juicy passion fruit characters coming out of this beer. It smells really nice. So let's have a closer look at the aroma and see how we get on. Yeah, so without sugaring the beer up, as you go into it closer, you really just, it really is just dominated by this big kind of passion fruit character that's come out. It really does smell like it's fruit added to the brew. So you're really getting that out of this one. So we'll sugar it up and see what else we can get. Yeah, when you sugar it up, you start to get more of the malt base. There's a bit of wheaty character in there, as you'd expect. It does smell quite bready as well, and there's some sort of graininess that isn't quite wheat coming out of this one as well. Maybe there's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness. Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a biscuity sweetness mixing in there. There's a little bit of the sort of caramelly biscuity thing going on in this beer, but really the nose is dominated by the passion fruit in this one. That really is where everything's coming from. You can't, with these hops that are in this from America, you should really get a little bit more of tropical fruit, but it's really, I think, the kind of juiciness you're getting from the aroma of this beer really makes it seem as if it's the kind of the passion fruit pulp and things that they've added to the beer is really just dominating the aroma. You can, I think you can smell a little bit of the citra hop coming out of this one. You can smell a little bit of these kind of almost lychee or gooseberry things from that, but I'm not really getting any of the things from the Cascade or the Chinook. Normally you'd get a big sort of grapefruit and piney resin thing from both of those and some floral aromaticity. But really, it is the kind of juicy, it really is the sort of juicy passion fruit that's just dominating this one. And when they say it's a passion fruit IPA, you know, you can kind of expect that. But this one tells me it's going to be a big, kind of, very kind of wet, fruity, juicy IPA. So, really looking forward to that one. As I say, when you sugar it up, you can get more of these wheaty elements, the breadiness, bit of biscuit, bit of caramel, but really it's the juicy fruitiness that's dominating the flavour on this one. So let's get stuck into this beer then. Really looking forward to it. My first encounter with this brewery. So this one is the White Horse IPA with passion fruit from Sälens Fjällbryggeri up in Sälens in Dalarna County here in Sweden. Skål! That's interesting. That's got a different feel to it from a lot of the other white IPAs I've had. It's very juicy and really quite oily. It's got a good hoppy presence as well, this one. And the juiciness just kind of counteracts that quite well. There's a very interesting feel on the edge of my palate there. You can feel the hoppy bitterness just wanting to push its way out, but the juiciness, I've always said that with beers, if you add fruit to the brew, you can feel that the edge of your palate is just a little bit wetter because of the juiciness that you get from that fruit. But this is interesting because you've almost got a fight between the hops trying to push their way out and that sort of juiciness that you get from the fruit that's been added to the brew. So that's really interesting in this beer. But yeah, it's developing over the palate nicely. The white side of this beer, the sort of wheaty elements, are a little bit more subtle than I was expecting. They're coming out more in the aftertaste, I would say, but really it's quite it really is leaning towards the juicy fruity side of things and the hoppiness. And it's nice though, it's just a different feel to the other imperial white IPAs and white IPAs that I've tried before. Yeah, that's nice. But what's interesting about this beer, you can feel that juiciness from the passion fruit just pushing its way in across the middle of your palate. There is a light little bit, as you start to move into the aftertaste, you can feel the smoothness from the wheat just pushing its way out. You can feel that kind of lightness from the Pilsner malt too, that sort of light, slightly biscuity character from the Pilsner malt. You can feel that right in the middle of the palate. There's a good bit of graininess, and as the flavour progresses, the malt base of the beer starts to dry out a little bit, but you do have that smoothness around the edges of the centre of your palate there, you can really pick up that wheaty malt base just smoothing out as the flavour of this beer progresses. But like I said, right in the middle of the tongue, it's got there's a little bit of that graininess just coming out of this one. There's a bit of biscuity, sort of corny syrup, caramelly thing going on in the middle of the palate too, which is quite interesting. But yeah, that's nice. This one, in a way, it actually comes across as a bit more like a fruit beer than a white IPA. I think it's fair to say that about this one, just because of how prominent those kind of passion fruit flavours are. So with this one, at the back corners of the palate, you can feel there's a little bit of floral character just trying to push its way out on the hoppy side of things. I'm not quite getting the sort of pine resins that you'd normally get from the Chinook and from the Cascade as well, and that's probably just because of how much fruit they've actually added into the brew here. It feels like they've added a lot to it, but it works nicely. But as you come further forward, you can feel it just lightens up. There's not so much of it, and around the front curve of the palate, you're maybe just getting a little bit of grassiness that's mixing in with that passion fruit flavour. If you go just behind the front curve of the tongue, you'll feel that little oily bubble coming out, and you can pick up a little bit of the sort of grapefruity flavours that you'd expect from the Chinook and the Cascade. There's maybe a little bit of the sort of light cheese or kind of gooseberry flavours that you'd expect from the Citra coming out. The Citra really gives you a very interesting array of different sort of tropical fruits in this one, but the passion fruit, like I say, that juicy kind of tropical passion fruit that they've added to this, that really kind of dominates the outside of your palate, where the hops usually come out in the early stages, and you start to detect more of it as you move further and further into the aftertaste. And like I was saying as well, the wheaty aspects of the flavour, they come out a little bit more as your palate starts to adjust to the beer, and again as it progresses into the aftertaste. So this one, for a white IPA, it really does have quite an interesting combination of flavours. It's not like some other ones I've come across before, but like I said, I've not reviewed too many in this style. I've reviewed mainly more single white IPAs rather than the imperial ones. But for me, this is really nice. I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this beer again, and it's always cool to try things that try different flavour combinations. If you like passion fruit flavours, like, I mean, particularly if you enjoy the Simcoe hop IPAs, you'll enjoy this beer. If you enjoy white IPAs, you probably will enjoy this as well. This one's a nice big wet, fruity, juicy thing in there. But if you like them to lean a little bit more towards the wheaty side of things, I would say this one it's more hoppy and more fruity and juicy, but for me it's a very good beer. And if this is the sort of feel that these guys want their beers to have, then I certainly want to try more of their beers. This is really nice, and I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again, so I will check and see what other beers I can get from Sälens on Systembolagets website. So yeah, in terms of the mouthfeel of this one, I'd say this one is I'd say it's probably mid-bodied. It's got a big wet, slightly oily mouthfeel actually, but mainly a kind of juicy, sort of fruit juicy kind of wetness to it. The carbonation, I would say, is fairly smooth. The oily character really dominates. The sort of oily and juicy character to this beer kind of dominates the mouthfeel. Yeah, there's a little bit of bitterness from the hops in this one, but really the fruity juicy aspects of the beer kind of they suppress that a little bit. The kind of bitterness that you might normally get from this beer, and the malt base is very smooth. There's a tiny little bit of dryness from the grains in the malt base there as well, but overall it's a really nice beer. As I said, I certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink this one, and the feel of the flavours that you can get from this beer really makes me want to try more from the brewery. There's a little bit of alcohol warmth to this, but for 9%, you know, it's a lot lighter than you would think it is. So it's kind of, for 9%, it's maybe a little bit dangerously drinkable. But then maybe I'm just becoming a bit more of a kind of seasoned beer drinker these days and don't notice so much the alcohol warmth that you get. But I mean, overall, very good beer. Certainly wouldn't hesitate to drink it again. I really want to try more beers from this brewery. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this beer review. As I said, I would recommend this for people who enjoy beers that have the Simcoe hop in them. The passion fruit flavours in this really stand out. The Citra elements are really nice too. And if you enjoy an Imperial White IPA but you want one that maybe is a bit more fruity and juicy, then this is one that's really going to hit the spot for you. So make sure you try it if you get the chance. It's available through Systembolaget in here in Sweden, and I don't know, I'm pretty sure they probably don't export at the moment, although maybe in Norway you can get some of these beers, so do make sure you check them out. But anyway, thank you once again for watching my beer reviews. Until the next time, please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Do check out all my social media in the description below, but make sure you check out Sälens Fjällbryggeri from Sälens in Dalarna here in Sweden. Until the next time, it's landed just now. Do let me know your own thoughts on this beer in the brewery in the comment section below, and I'll catch you very soon with more beer reviews. Make sure you support your local craft breweries and have a try of some of these Sälens Fjällbryggeri beers. It's landed just now, and I'll catch you very soon. Cheers.